Welcome, everyone. This is Crafty Chat number 20, and I am here with Nancy and Lucy. And our topic today is kind of a show and tell episode. It's been a while since we've checked in on what we've been working on. So that's what we're going to do today, talk about. And it's fall, it's early fall, so it's kind of like, what are we going to start working on going into the months ahead? Who would like to start? I don't feel ready to delve into my projects for some reason, so.
I have a pile of stuff, so I can go whenever, because like right before we started video, I'm like, oh, well, I was going to start these 4 projects. Let me go get the yarn so I can at least show you guys like the insane colors that I've picked out for stuff. But okay. Do you want to show stuff, Lucy, or do you want me to go?
Sure, I'll go. I don't have a pile. Well, as far as like what I've been working on, I did finally finish my pom-pom wall hanging, which doesn't really seem like a big deal, except that it took me so long to make each pom-pom. Like I had to do just one a weekend because it's the perfection thing. Like, you know, and even still I look at it and I'm like, oh no, that one's not trimmed well. But
sure, it's gorgeous.
I'm glad.
We've been talking about it for forever, so I'm excited.
The pom-poms, we had a photo, which maybe I can put in here. The pom-poms that were in the bowl.
Yeah.
Are those the pom-poms?
Oh no, those are different. Those are different. Those I made. I have it in here. I made a bouquet out of those.
Oh my God.
Which I actually have. I can grab in a sec. But and then I've just been working on my Millie sweater, and I've done everything. And now I'm on the sleeves, and so you can't really. It's black and white, so it's hard to see on here. But it's come out well. But oh my gosh, picking up the stitches to do the sleeves on this thing.
Really?
Driving me crazy because, well, you know, like most of them were on my waist yarn, got those on, and then you have to pick up 3 on either side, but it's really fine yarn, and there weren't like really neat stitches to get in there to pick up other ones, so there would be these big holes, and this is my, like, which is hard to start anyway at the bottom of an armhole, so I redid it like, I don't know, 5 times, and then I put it down, and then one of my needles came out, so then I had to redo it again. But I ended up going down a bunch of rows, like to pick up a stitch. Kind of sounds weird, you know, on the outside, down a few rows, so that I just know there won't be a hole, and I don't know if it'll work or not. But the thing about doing that made me realize, like, it's something I kind of struggle with a lot. It's like putting a thumb on a mitten, that gusset hole or the armhole. So I was like, I just want to understand doing a sweater, like the construction from start to finish. So after this, I have all the yarn ready over here to do the flax sweater on Tin Can Knits, because you know, it's such a good teaching website, and their patterns. So because I happen to have like this green.
Oh, pretty.
It's really pretty.
Yarn, and I have enough of it, and I have the right needles and everything. So it's like all set to go here. And I feel like if I can do that really basic sweater where they walk you through step by step, that whole website, that whole series of free patterns is so good, that might help me get over that hurdle of, because like you work so hard on the body of a sweater, and then you go to put the sleeves on, and, you know, I don't want to be stumped by that.
Now, is the flax knit in fingering weight, or is it knit?
That's the flax light. So there's 2.
Okay,
there's flax, which I think is in DK, maybe, or worsted.
I can't remember.
And then the flax light. So I would have done either. I was just looking at the yarn that I have, and I have enough of that, and I like it. I think it'll be kind of a fun color, like a bright-ish green.
Yes.
So I'm going to do that, but before I do that one, I have my sister's birthday is in November, and she's turning, it's a big 50 for her. So sorry, sister, for sharing that. But anyway.
It's an important one.
Yeah. So I like to
Okay.
knit stuff for her anyway because she doesn't knit and she always really appreciates it. So I'm going to do a Bella shawl for her because I know she'll love it. And I have this. It's the same.
Whoa.
It's Why Not Fibers Starlet, which is the same yarn that I've done in before, but this one is this multicolor one.
Wow.
So,
That's
and I've had this for a while, but I was like, that's perfect. And I know I can get that done by November. And I love doing that shawl, the Bella shawl. So that's going to be what I do when I finish my Millie sweater. And then I'm trying to just do that, and then I'll see what else comes up because I think when you bite off more than you can chew sometimes, then you don't finish. I don't know.
What
So,
are you? What could you possibly?
I don't know what that's like.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You know.
We'll see if I stick with that though. You know, it's also like it's when it starts to get colder, it's sort of like good yarn buying time and
That's
so,
I'm starting to get to the point where like my fingers and toes are cold all the time, so it kind of was reevaluating a lot of my projects of like, are the shawls and the scarves really what I want to do right now, or should I be working on arm warmers and socks? So kind of have two path plans of like things to keep me warm or things on my queue of projects that I had planned far in advance for this fall. Because I have a tendency to plan really far out and then, you know, shuffle things around as the need comes up of like, no, I want to work with this yarn or I want to work on this project. So,
You know, I really wish I would have made my leg warmers so I had them now.
Yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself about that too.
I made one pair, but there's a pair I wanted to make out of yarn that I have that's like a purple and I have a gray. It's like I have enough to make some nice long ones, but I don't know what happened and I knew what pattern I was going to do and I've lost it. And so now I've been trying to figure out what pattern to do. And I want them to be, and like, should I try and knit them? But I'm like, I've never knit in the round. Do I really want to take that on or do I want to just try and like whip them up, like do it with crochet?
I actually am just to the point where I want to, like the boot cuffs and the leg warmers, I'm just going to whip those up in crochet because it goes so fast for me. That's my plan for those to make sure that I get them done before it starts to get really cold.
But
so
then
I
it's
can
like,
actually
which crochet stitch do I want to, you know, so then that became a problem.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm comfortable whipping things up in double crochet and just saying, screw it. And, you know, just throwing it on, wearing it for 2 years. And then in the meantime, like working on something that's a little bit fancier and looks a little nicer. So that's, I don't know. If I'm doing those out of acrylic also, I'm not using my wool for those. I do have fingering weight leg warmers and hand warmers that I do want to knit. Those will come later down the line, but that I'm feeling the cold crunch now. I have a warmer on the floor for my toes because I'm freezing right now. But I just want to get them done just to have them. So, but I'm close to having a couple things done for winter. The color work on my cowl,
this is amazing.
my Ocean Pathways is coming along really, really well. The second section of color work is the tension's a lot better. It's really tight down here, but it's much better up here. And I love the way the back looks with the floats.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that cool?
I love that. Didn't expect that to be so satisfying, the floats. But I'm really, really happy with this, and this is gorgeous, and the yarn is just so bright and so pretty. These are actually my favorite colors, so I was very excited about that. And then my cousin-in-law is having a baby this fall, so I'm making a little crochet lovey. It's gonna have a kitty cat on the top with like kitty cat head and arms, and then it's just like a little toy for baby.
Cute.
So because I love the pastel stuff, and this is all cotton yarn that I had, so I didn't have to buy anything. And I was really excited about that to have, you know, it's almost done. The head is halfway done with her head. So it's getting there. And that's maybe like 2 hours of work that I've had. And then I don't know what pushed me to actually string my loom, but I started a weaving. So there's a bottom portion right there. And this yarn is a self-striping yarn from Knitterly Things. They're a company here in Michigan, I think. But I sent Heidi a picture of all the different colored yarns. So it's all blues and teals, and then some bright yellow are going to go into this. I remember why I strung it up. I was teaching my husband how to weave.
Oh, yeah.
He asked me to teach him. So we were, was teaching him how to weave, and we were doing that together one evening, and then I just kept going and going and going. And it's been really nice and very soothing. So that's been really, really fun. And then I'm still working on the Find Your Fade shawl. I made a big mistake somewhere in the section where I stopped, so I have to figure out, my stitch count is off, so I have to figure out how to fix that. So that's kind of on temporary hiatus while I figure out what I did wrong. But then looking forward, I had planned on doing some autumn projects, so like Halloween and autumn projects. So I bought these 2 skeins of yarn a while ago. This one is AJHC Wools out of Eaton Rapids, and this one is Black Cat Fibers. They're in Minnesota, but they both vend at the Ann Arbor Fiber Expo. And this is going to be my Halloween shawl for this year. And then I bought all of these color yarns the last couple of years at the Fiber Expo for a Magical Thinking. It's a swan show. It's a shawl poncho. She absolutely adamantly insists that it's not a poncho because her teenage daughter would die. The designer's Casapinka. So she's like, it's not a poncho because my daughter would die. But 2 of these are Dyer and Warren Splash of Color yarns, and then this one is Leading Men Fibers, and they're in Minnesota also, I think. But those are all my hand-dyed wools out of my stash of stuff. And then I found in my queue, I think I'm ready to start trying brioche in knitting. So I'm gonna do
Whoa.
my Cheshire Cat brioche shawl in pink and purple. These are so bright. I've been saving them for a very, very long time, so I'm really excited to actually get to work with them. But these are worsted weight, so that'll go really fast. And it'll be very, very warm and squishy. So I'm very excited. Those are just acrylics. I think they're Deborah Norville acrylics. But I just love the colors a lot. So
Yeah.
That's my upcoming stuff.
Wow.
Wow.
It's a lot, but I've been knitting a lot faster than I have been. The greatest thing about the color work is it actually taught me how to knit continental.
Yeah. Wow.
So I switched from English to continental, and it's going a lot faster.
I bet.
So that's really, really cool, and I've been very happy with that. And then there's a couple other smaller like crochet boot toppers and stuff that I've had in my queue. That, like I said, I'm just going to churn those out really fast, so I'm not worried about finishing those. But I'm going to do those all in black so that I can wear them with everything.
Perfect.
That's the plan.
Cool.
How about you, Heidi?
Okay, so I'm kind of all over the place. Not a surprise, I suppose.
That's okay.
One of my most
We're always all over the place.
My most recent project was inspired after our last episode 19 with Emily talking about crafting spaces. We had recorded it, I don't know, earlier in the week. A few days later, I was just like, I can't be in this room anymore the way it is. So I just overhauled it, as you may notice, regular viewers. The black shelving is gone, and it's just like, anyways, I just opened up the space, and I've got everything stacked on one wall. Some stuff I found room in that closet that's not a closet. So yeah, and you can't maybe see too well, but on the door, I am drawing a mandala. So I'm working on
I can
see
that. Yeah, I can see the pencil line.
So I got that project. It's kind of exhausting because I'm trying to do it a little bit not just at my height. So it's like I have to keep getting up on my toes, and so it's not. But it's less awkward than the one that I painted somewhere else in the house where I had to be like kneeling down on the floor and like sometimes laying down, like contortionist. And I started working on that probably 13 years ago, and I've never gone back. And I don't know that I will because,
pain. I don't like yoga
like I used to. Really well, so in any event, moving on from there. So one thing I did finish, I don't know if I ever showed this, but I did finish my, oh God, I don't even know what the name of the pattern was, but here it is, my pink little, it's a little crescent shawl, and I just love
I
it.
love that.
Beautiful.
It's so lightweight and it just stays in place, and it's perfect for this time of year. So
Yeah.
I love that. I want to know what pattern that is.
I will, I have it. I just don't remember the
It's
name.
around.
Hmm?
I said it's around.
It's around. I still have it. So that was really exciting to like finish something and block it. And at first I was worried because it wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. Because I think in the photo she used more yarn. And she said, you can do it more, you'll just need more yarn. But I did it for what the pattern was written for, and it didn't seem as big. But anyway, I love it. And so,
Yeah.
and it's just beautiful yarn that I bought on a whim at the Detroit Urban Craft Fair when was that?
Mhm.
December when they have that? So
December, I think. Yeah, because it's a holiday market.
yeah, at the Masonic Temple.
Mhm.
One of the last markets I've been to or will be. Well, although I should take that back, because I did just yesterday go down to the Ann Arbor Artisan Market that they have on Sundays in Carytown.
Mhm.
They usually run from April through December, but they didn't open until August this year, just so, obviously because there was a stay-at-home measures and all that, and also to make sure that they had safety measures in place. And so they've got that going on. So it's really cool to revisit the market where I used to vend over 13 years ago again. Everything's like I got married and like I changed everything I was doing apparently. That seems to be like a timeline. So
It happens.
so that was a cool little artisan market to go to. There's lots of fun stuff to look at. So okay, so what else have I been working on? So like I said, I've been all over the place. I started a hat back in April because I thought, oh, I want to have a nice like lighter weight hat that I could, because sometimes I'm at night, I need a hat to wear to bed, and the one that I have is just like too big. It's got this giant pom-pom on it, and it's just not very comfortable. But so I had this fingering weight yarn, or no, sock yarn. That's what this is. That I got from Lucy,
Pretty.
if you recognize it, Lucy. And so I want it to be slouchy. So right now it looks like, I don't know. But the colors, and now I'm like working with it, and I'm like, I really should have done a shawl with this. But
it's pretty.
pretty. So I'm just going to
Those colors are very you.
keep going for a while until it can be kind of have like a little slouch to it, hopefully.
So cute.
Again, not really working with the pattern, just kind of winging it and hoping that all is well. I revisited my black shawl, if you guys remember, that's that sweater shrug thing, and I decided I completely hate it and I'm never going to wear it. I tried. I was like, maybe if I put a button on it or something. I'm like, this thing is all kind of wrong. And I'm like, that's what you get for winging it. Actually, I think somebody smaller might fit into it better. I think that's what it is. I think it's just like I made it not anyway. So moving along. So much to show and tell. Can I talk about things that I've made for other programs? Because that's kind of what's taken up some of my time.
Yeah.
You can, yeah.
Because, that's like work time. And then we have projects that we work on when we're not working. But
Well, honestly, everything's kind of so like nebulous for us. So it's like, yes, it is work time.
I might have to cut that part out of this. All right.
Maybe we shouldn't admit to that, but I mean, I'm okay with leaving it.
So we had a button program, or getting creative with buttons. So I made these earrings.
It's great.
So they're cute.
Those are so cute.
These earrings, you can see. And I made all kinds of earrings. And then I also did a couple flowers, which
I love those.
they were kind of hard to make. I thought they'd be so easy. It's one of those things, you see it on Pinterest, and it was like initially like this was a Pinterest fail, but I did get it to work. So that was fun. But I also didn't know what I wanted to make for that program. So of course I couldn't just make one thing. So then I also did like a button letter H that's going to go in my room somewhere.
Do you like
I like it.
I like
that. Is really pretty. I like the colors in it too.
Oh, it's just this rainbow, and I'm like, I can't figure out where to put it yet. So there's that. Okay, so then I was working on one shawl with this rainbow yarn, but then I had this project for doing natural dyes. So I thought, oh, I have some yarn that I bought 2 years ago when I thought I was going to get into natural dyeing. And I never worked with it. So then I was like, I'm going to try and make something. I'm not going to finish it in time for this project. So I ended up buying yarn, skeins of yarn. So now I bought so much yarn that's sitting in jars outside because I'm doing a solar dye project. And it's been great because it's been overcast and raining for like the past 3 or 4 days. So,
No.
so it's kind of funny because 2 years ago it was fall when it was Labor Day when I started it, and it was rainy then too. And I'm like, I really need to start this in July. When you have those days when it's dry, it's 90 degrees, but so we'll see. It'll get there eventually. And then the thing is, it's dyed yarn. If it doesn't really I can always re-dye it. In the process of learning about natural dye or revisiting it, I discovered dyeing with Kool-Aid. So I might just go into complete reverse from doing natural dyes
to unnatural dyes.
Using Kool-Aid in the microwave to dye my yarn because it looks really pretty. It's like
It does.
Vibrant and
well, the other one that's really popular as far as like a introductory into hand dyeing for yarn is Wilton food coloring.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the Wilton Violet food coloring is like one of the most popular like starting hand dyes for wool, at least. Because I've done I spend a lot of money on hand dyed yarn, you guys. So I've legit looked into like would it be more cost effective for me to dye my own yarn? The answer is no, not for me. Because I'm also in an apartment and that would not go well.
Well, there's a lot of other like equipment.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of went with the solar dye because I didn't want to have separate pots and pans and all of that.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm a little nervous when I take it out. You have to gently rinse it and gently wash it. Hope to God the skein didn't get, well, it's not a skein yet, it's a hank, that it didn't tangle.
Yeah.
Like you have to tie it in different places, but it's like, this is going to be a little bit of a mess, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's
like,
that made me really nervous, but I'm excited to see how your solar dyes come out because
originally I thought, it'll be easier to dye a garment. So I'm working on this in lace. So it starts out really tiny and it just slowly, is going to get wider and longer. It's just like a simple kind of sawtooth type of. So yeah,
that's really pretty.
It's very gauzy. It's like weird knitting with lace. I don't know why I should say it's not weird. It's like sometimes it's like it's not there. It's so light.
Yeah, I jumped from a DK weight project to a fingering weight project. So fingering weight's the smaller of the two, and it felt like I was knitting with spiderweb fiber. I was just like, this is so tiny and so light. I was doing socks and thought this was clunky, like with exactly the same yarn. So it's just like, for some reason, the tactile difference jumping between the two was like, this is night and day. It was very strange.
I think I do prefer the fingering weight or sock weight yarn is really ideal.
Yeah.
Because I'm working with that chroma lace yarn, and it's like it's like I told you, it was like roving, like it almost like it can pull apart so easily. So not only is it lace, and it's like gossamer. It's like it's even bigger. So
that's the Knit Picks chrome. So. Yeah. The Knit Picks chroma lace is very, it's untwisted largely. So it's just like, it's cloud puff. It's pretty, but it's like puff balls.
I'm sure it'll be great in the end. And then watch me wash it one day the wrong way and it gets felted. So I love my positive attitude. Gosh. Well, anyways.
Well,
So my final thing that I'm going to show, because I know I've been showing a lot, this is why I told you at the beginning, I was like, I don't feel ready.
That's okay. I forgot one.
So here's an Afghan that I've been working on since probably 2008, I'm going to guess. This is a pattern from Attic 24. It's her hexagon. And so it starts with, I make these circles and then I do join as you go. Ideally, it was going to be like for a queen size bed. I don't know if I'm going to get there because I'm like, I think 2 years ago, I was like, I'm really going to work on this. One thing that stopped me for a while is I didn't like this green. Like, how your mood changes about color.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like that anymore. I had to set it aside or whatever. So then I wanted to work on it again. And it turns out Lion Brand discontinued this green. So I had to find it on eBay. So I did. I found 3 skeins and I'm like, I'm going to work on it. I got to have it right now. And of course I have not really, I worked on it for like a couple weeks. So yeah, my goal is to hopefully by the end of this year, let's say end of January, that I will have the blanket in a place where it's finished. It's at least going to be, a twin size. But
Mhm.
I could maybe, I don't know, we'll see.
It'll make a good couch blanket
Yeah.
or like a lap blanket. That would be really nice.
That's what I'm
Is that the Lion Brand homespun?
Oh yeah, so that's and this was
Okay.
early days. This was one of my first projects, and probably was not the best choice of yarn to take on. But
I was
loved
actually going
it.
to ask you about that.
I loved how thick and fluffy it was, and I'm like, it's bulky, it'll work up fast, but I'm like, this thing is just a monster. Oh,
Colors are spectacular in that yarn,
yeah.
that Lion Brand, and it's very it's very intoxicating, like walk, because there's if for anybody who's a knitter or crocheter and is familiar, just like go to Joann's or Michael's, go to the yarn section, look for Lion Brand homespun, and there's like 45 or 50 colors in the store, and that's not even all the colors that they have. So like I was totally enthralled by those colors when I first started knitting and crocheting, of like, it's beautiful, and just going crazy picking colors. Crocheting with that yarn is a nightmare for me. Because of the way that it's twisted, it's really hard to see where your stitches are, especially when you're first starting out. So that was when I first started trying to crochet with that yarn. I threw up my hands entirely. It was just like, I can't
Really?
see anything, can't figure it out.
It was like all I ever used. My first project I knitted. It was like I knitted ended up being a really long shawl where I just started off with like a couple stitches and then like increasing. So it was really narrow and long. And I used the homespun, and I've used it for a couple other things, and it was always the go-to. But yeah, in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have chose a different, I don't know, I just don't totally love the way this thing looks, but I'm like, I'm gonna finish it.
I can tell you on camera, it looks really pretty.
It does look very pretty.
And like, I love the finished product with that yarn. My struggle was working with it. I found it very frustrating. And that was my never-ending shawl of doom that I started in like 2005, was with Lion Brand homespun, and it was 5 skeins of that yarn, and the finished rectangle was 25 inches by 75 inches. So it was 2 feet by 6 feet long. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. That was a big project to take for my first knitting project, and it took 8 years to finish. So it was a lot, but it's pretty yarn. It's very, very pretty. But I did forget one thing. I sent Heidi a picture, but I did finish. I finished my string art.
Oh God, I know this is just amazing. I'm like, I saw that and I'm like, I can't do string art anymore. I can't do paper embroidery. I'm done.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You have to.
It's so beautiful, though. I was just really.
I actually, in person, from seeing your string embroidery and this, your string embroidery glows a little bit more than this does in person. On camera, maybe not so much, but like the rayon thread that you used for that string art, like I really like how luminous it is and how much it shines. This yarn is a little bit more matte because it's cotton, but the colors are really vibrant, and that's what makes me really happy.
I just really love your patterning, and like what you did there. So
I was really happy to finish that. And went a lot faster than a lot of other embroidery projects I've done at the same size. So
it actually did. It inspired me to continue, because I was working towards drawing more of my own mandalas to use for paper embroidery. So yeah, that's another thing I'm going to work on.
Yeah, that's well, we're also next month we're doing an embroidery challenge, so I'm kind of gearing up to doing that embroidery. And I did buy we got the sampler that we're going to work on, and then I bought another sampler from Rebecca Ringquist's shop to work on at the same time. It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. I was really surprised because I thought it would be a little bit bigger, but I think that'll be good because it's not as much space that you have to fill, so it'll take a lot less time. But I was really excited to get that in the mail, to kind of start planning my colors and thinking about where I want to go with that. But yeah, mine's going to be all knitting all the time. Lots of yarn, which I'm excited for. So
yeah. So good stuff, y'all.
Yeah.
If we're keeping busy enough, so yeah.
We'll see how the plans change in the next 2 or 3 months, as like we're working on projects of where the frustration points lie and where we get distracted with stuff. So
right.
I know, and I have all
I kind of take that as part of the process.
this all this. I have 4 hanks of DK bear, whatever it's called, from Knit Picks. So DK wool. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So I have to start, putting in the yardage and figuring out a project.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that depends on if it even turns into anything I want to use, but
Yeah.
so.
Well, yeah, I would see how the solar dyeing stuff turns out and then see what you want to do with it.
It's definitely a great experiment, and I think if I don't get the results I want, I could even try over the winter time if there's like a section of days when we get a lot of sun, because you could do it in the house. There was a suggestion of making a solar oven outside to help with because it's really the heat. You don't need the light of the sun, it's the heat. So what I did instead of the solar oven, I've covered them in a black plastic bag to help with more of the heat retention, because I just didn't want to use all that aluminum foil to cover a box. To make a solar, it's like, I like, oh, this would be really fun, it'd be cool, but I was like, I'm not motivated to go to a dollar store. I just don't want to go. I just want to go anywhere if I don't have to. So
yeah,
but I don't want to I don't want to spend a lot of money on foil. So anyhow, you can always save it and redo it in the spring or summer. But I did find, so I found it with there's not a lot of great information out there for solar dyeing. Like Mother Earth News had an article, or like I just wasn't finding enough resources, because I think a lot of people are just like, yeah, you just throw the stuff in the pot and you do it, which is kind of my way of going about things. But at the same time, I want to have some specifics that I can ignore. It seems to be my way. It's like, I know the rules, I'm not going to do it that way, but I understand the process. So anyway,
a lot of my research into like tutorials and stuff is figuring out what other people have done. So like, how can I either riff off of what they've done or break the rules entirely? And so it kind of like, it's putting limits on what the possibilities are for me of like, and then I can take that and springboard it and see where I can be creative in order to come up with something different, or try to replicate their results if I find something that I really, really like. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you of like, see what other people have done to see how far you can break the rules of what you're supposed to do.
But I can shout out to this show, Cabin Boy Knits, Sky in Canada, that he has a lot of natural dye episodes. He's got a lot of episodes out there. I think he talks about fibers and other things too. I've only watched a couple, but I just love him. So I loved his presentation, and I was like, he had a really great episode about solar dye that really was helpful to me. So yeah. Let's see.
Add him to my YouTube queue.
Yeah.
Always looking for new
He's
things
very fun.
to watch.
It was one of the episodes I really enjoyed too. He kept talking about like the colors. He would reference it in relation to food. Because he's like, yeah, he had this one like green, and he's like, oh, this green, and with this, I have this other brown. He's gonna make these socks. He's like, it's gonna be like chocolate mint ice cream, and I'm like, that's my brain too. So.
Always thinking about food.
Yeah,
always.
Totally. Yeah.
That's my brain.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. Do we have anything else? I totally feel like I just exploded here with all my things.
I don't think we had anything else. Well, this one was kind of going to be a little bit on the shorter end of stuff. So, no, I don't think we had anything else.
No, I mean, it's good. I think it's good length. So, and then we'll talk about next episode should be, things might change, but we're supposed to have Anne on here to talk further about natural dyeing and medieval inks and all kinds of cool stuff. So,
yeah.
Which I'm super geeked about.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, so we'll see how we pack that into hopefully not too long of an episode, but I'm excited.
We have to break it up into 2 parts. We'll break it up into 2 parts.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So
yeah, because I don't want to cut anything out that she's done, because everything she does is so cool and so awesome. So I'm excited to see what she's got to show us. So.
Yeah. Well, with that, I guess we will bid you adieu.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode of Crafty Chat. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we have Anne on the show to talk about natural dyeing. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and don't forget to love each other. Bye, guys.
Bye.